Welcome to this free training on the context of systems engineering. First, if you're pursuing systems engineering, either as a mid-career transfer or maybe new to the field out of school, you're in the right place. It's a very exciting field. You touch a lot of different aspects of the program. If you're in a technical organization, you get to see the big picture if you're a big picture person. And systems engineering can be one of the most important aspects of a project. Basically, it ensures that at the end of the work, the time, at the end of the money, all this engineering effort actually solves the original customer problem in the first place. You might have seen programs that spend all this money and then the solution just isn't right because a requirement was forgotten. And there are many cases in the annals of engineering history to back that up. Reach out to me directly if you like some of these examples. But here, we're going to give you the basics. So you don't need a technical background, but this will give you a context of system engineering tasks that you're likely to get. Okay, so it will be in two parts. First, we'll go over how system engineering fits into a larger technical organization. Okay, then the second part will be the systems engineering piece, and you'll see a time flow about just the basic pieces of systems engineering. Now, this is not an advanced course. There are modeling and simulation efforts where you go into the theory, and there's systems theory where you talk about how you can put large systems together. This is just going to give you a background. Let's jump in. First, like in any business, it starts out with a request. So a customer has some pain point. I'll just say request here. All right, there's some pain that the customer has tried to live without it, but they need to modernize their system. Let's say in a hospital, their record system is too slow, or they're missing things. Okay, so there's some problem, and they feel an engineering solution is what they need. So then that comes into our company or organization. Okay, and we now have something called the activity bubble. Okay, so here's all the activity that happens in our organization, and then out the end comes the product or solution. So it could be a system, it could be software, it could be hardware, could be services combined with the product. We're going to focus here on things that involve some engineering creation. So it's not pure services, it's not just consultancy, it's not just training, it's some system that may involve those other things, but there's some product involved there. So we're going to put that just as the product, or sometimes called the system of interest. And then all right, in the context of all your engineering work, please keep in mind, ultimately, it is a business. Even if you work for the government or nonprofit, where there's some request by a customer, and the request could be a market demand that marketing has assessed, could be a real opportunity, to take advantage of. There's activity, and then there's a product out the other end. Now, inside this activity bubble, there are several things. One is all the resources. Now, this could be anything from office space to laboratory space, laboratory equipment, the things and the artifacts that people use to produce a product. Even certain infrastructure, like your IT infrastructure. Those are resources, the things that someone would use. Your back-end payroll, I'm not really counting it in terms of resources that could be, but basically it's the equipment. Now, there's also line management. Okay, so just to manage the work, you need line management. I've heard of stories where they try and take out a layer and things tend not to work. You can't have 70 direct reports and effectively lead, in my opinion. So you have a line management. You have something else called program management. So this is not line management, but you're managing the technical work, but it seems like costing, schedule. It's not, it's the managing the work that doesn't involve the engineering. So we'll call it PM for short. Tracking earned value can be part of this. Just the strict project management aspects of just running a large program. Okay, and this is geared toward larger programs. You can scale it down for smaller ones. But you have line management, program management, and then you have the resources. Then there's everything that's left. And here is where systems engineering comes in. So systems engineering is all the activity that governs the technical work of the program. Now, you'll have some technical management in here, because when you engineer a system, you're working requirements, there will be management of either the technology or the requirements, or you're managing a test plan. That's part of systems engineering, where you're dealing with testing or validation. There's certainly overlap, and all of these interact with each other. So systems engineering has to work with PM for funding, and then the technical management touches the project management. Certainly line management is involved, and then for resources, of course, systems engineers need those to reserve test table time, and then the other parts also interact as well. So line management basically touches everything. So. Okay, want to keep it a little simplified here. But the main point is that systems engineering, that's why it's a neat field, it really involves corralling the technical work to make sure the technical work is aligned to the customer need. Okay, we have a product to deliver, but also it has to interact with line management to get resources, program management to basically just track, let's say, the schedule of a project. In PM, considering the engineers mostly in this technical bubble, there are engineers in project and program management, but the role here would be more programmatic. And then, of course, all the resources. Okay. This is one model of many, but I found this really answers the question, what does systems engineering do in a technical organization, and what is its role, what else does it touch? So if you can understand this, I think you'll understand your role in the organization. Okay, and what I hope this instills is you to appreciate how it's all interrelated. I'm very nice to my finance people who might be living in project management. Obviously, line management is how I access people resources, engineers, the people running the resources. You know, they make the difference in whether I get what's called table time, like say lab bench time, or not. So it's all interrelated. In systems engineering, we don't do these other roles, but we need to know about them. Now, if you're a line electrical engineer, you know, I did some electrical engineering way back when, and I didn't necessarily need to know all of this then. I was very new. But honestly, it would have helped. Some of my suggestions might have had more weight, and there was a time when I was in a technical office. I was working a little more project management, and just not understanding these other aspects really held me back. I zigged when I should have zagged, and I was not as effective as I could have been. That's an understatement. So you can reach out to me directly. I can tell you more of those stories. So this is the basics. So now we're going to delve into part 2 here and describe a little more of systems engineering. What's that involved?